It was fun. You know what? It was a lot of work. Even right now, I can call. There's a couple of people that I can call that are still alive today because I lost quite a few of them that I used to work with, and these were the guys. And I had put it out there because they trained me. When I became, I was working for WPDQ in Jacksonville, and I worked with Mike Moore. And Mike gave me my real good start down here in Florida because I was already working with Frankie Crocker in New York. And I knew Frankie, I didn't know at the time, I didn't know Frankie Crocker was going to be such a legend. You know, he was a living legend. He was even on TV. I didn't know that.
As a radio station guy?
Yeah. The WBLX, one of the most popular urban R&B stations in New York, in New Jersey. And then I left there and went to WNJR in New Jersey. And I went from FM to AM. But they had an AM signal that broadcasted in FM. It was an FM signal. But, it was still on the AM dial. And I worked there for quite a while. That's where I lost Cassandra, my wife, and my kid, my son. And it was during that time. And that was in 78. And that's when I decided, 79 is when I left. So I can't do this no more. And that's when I left.
So, you wanted to just get out of everything completely?
I wanted to get out of Jersey. No, not the music.
Oh.
But I wanted to get out of Newark, New Jersey area. Because I knew all of New Jersey, because you got to remember, I was raised there. So I knew everything. I knew how, I was all over New Jersey. I mean,
where did you end up here? Miami?
When I first came here, believe it or not, I stopped in Gainesville. And that's when I if I ever get him on the phone, because I was supposed to go up there and spend a couple of days with him. He said, Reese, you can always stay here, and so you don't have to worry about driving all the way back home. Because he knows if I go up there, I'm going to drink or whatever. So instead of driving all the way back here for 2 hours, that's what I'm trying to think of the name of the place, the city that he lives in, as you keep going up. But anyway, his name is Vinny DeRosa. His brother is still alive, so Peter's still around. He's still married to the same girl that he was married to, or got married to when we were in Gainesville. I'm like, God damn, that was so many years ago. You know what I'm saying? And he could tell you, his father was the one that had the money, and we opened up late night, and I ended up looking for a job because I was working for WPD. I wasn't working for PDQ at the time. I was working for Kilowatt. It was called Kilowatt. And it was an underground radio station. And then WGGG was an AM station, but they did more talk than radio. But I needed a job.
Wait, I know you're talking to a novice right now, but what is an underground radio station? It's not illegal.
It is illegal.
Really?
Meaning, put it this way, they're throwing out a signal, but they're not paying for it.
Oh.
So you can hear me, but you don't know where you're hearing me from.
Oh.
And I'm not giving my location. You love the music, but I don't want to say we're over here at so-and-so and so-and-so, and all of a sudden, okay, now we got their little asses.
You never got caught?
No. I didn't. I never even stayed at the station long enough.
Who would you have to pay money to if you did get caught? The FCC?
Most likely, yeah, broadcasting. Yeah, probably would. But you know what? I do have somebody that I know that has had a pirated station.
Is that why they got rid of analog? I
don't know. I couldn't say. I couldn't even answer that. It's a good question.
Because that isn't like CB, or is that another frequency?
That's another frequency.
See, I don't know much.
Yeah, that's another. And see, I don't even know if today, like, you have to have an FCC license. So you have to take a test to get an FCC license to even broadcast over the air. And, I had my license and stuff, but I'm like, even today, do they do that anymore? I don't think they do. I mean, because I got in trouble one time for saying shit or damn or something. I said on the air one day, and I was like, oh, shit.
And then they charge you.
Well, they didn't catch me, but the owner of the station heard me. Because he used to like to listen to my mixes and stuff. And then,
the phone rang immediately.
A minute later. And when he called, because he had a certain number, and he had he's the only one that had the number to that phone, so because if anything happened to the station, you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And he called. I'm like, God, all right. Oh, hey, what's up? He said, "Did I hear you correctly?" I said, "Yeah, I mean," he said, "Listen," he said, "You need to be careful." He said, "Because we're being monitored and stuff like that. Because FCC and stuff like that, they used to monitor the stations off and on. So, and we weren't the #1 station, and he was a nice guy to a certain point."
PDQ?
No, this is the WRXB. It was an AM station, and we went sun up to sundown, and then we finally went 24/7, and I ended up being the biggest thing that ever hit that station.
Wow.
But I brought a lot of my mixing skills from up north down here, and they weren't doing that down here at the time. And I didn't give myself the name Master of the Mix. Tampa and St. Pete, everybody gave me Tampa Bay's Master of the Mix. That was where, Master of the Old School Mix, that's where it came from. So they just gave me that name. I was the only one doing it on the radio station. Nobody, no station at all at that time. And matter of fact, David is still around. I still talk to David. He's still in St. Pete. I think he owns a club now, and he works for the Four Horsemen, which is 4 guys that they go around DJing in St. Petersburg and Clearwater, but Sarasota and stuff like that, and Bradenton. He's still alive. The owner of the station that I work for right now, he said he heard of me. He said, "Reese," he said, "Man, everybody heard of you." He said, I tell them about Reese Elliott, and the first thing they say, "Reese Elliott from WRXB?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Man," he said, you were really popular back in the day." And I was. The 80s? Yeah.
How'd you end up in Miami?
Bo Crane. Pandas Records, the record I showed you with my name on it. Mm-hmm. Him and Henry Stone. I told you about Casey and the Sunshine Band and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Bo Crane came to a music convention in Atlanta. In the radio station, I used to go to all the different conventions and stuff. They stay in the hotels in New York. I went to the New York Music Seminar, Jack the Rapper Seminar. Yeah, I went to all these places. The station sends you there. And I was the music director and program director, so I had to be there. So anyway, I was at one of them. Never heard of Bo Crane, because at that time, didn't know nothing about Miami. And he was there. I was with a guy that was very popular in New York, and he did a news station. And I was talking with him, and Bo Crane came over there. And he asked me, he was telling me who he was. And I was like, he said, and I'm looking for somebody to come down to run South Florida Street Jocks, the record pool.
South Florida Street
Jocks.
Jocks.
Yeah, like jockey. So he said, I overheard your conversation. He said, "Your name is Reese." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I heard it." He said,
"Wait,
you're the music director at WRXB in St. Petersburg, right?" And I said, "Yeah." So now I don't know who the hell he is. And then when he tells me who he was, I'm like, okay, I heard of him because I know Florida Record Pool and South Florida Street Jocks is his company.
The first thing I thought of when you said jocks was sports guys.
Oh, no.
You mean disc jockeys, right?
Yeah, disc jockeys.
Okay. And he needed somebody to run that organization down in
Miami.
Okay.
But the black side, because the Florida Record Pool, Sereno, which was a Spanish guy, he was running Florida Record Pool. But he had problems keeping somebody there to run South Florida Street Jocks. And he called it South Florida Street Jocks because all my jocks worked the streets. They were all they were always out in the street. And they some of them worked in clubs and things of that sort, but for the most part, they did a lot of stuff out in the street. Like your boy, Luke. Remember Luke? Remember the 2 Live Crew?
Mm. Yeah.
If you pull it up, you'll see him. Luke, I met Luke.
The one that moved to Africa?
I don't know if Luke. I don't know if
2
Luke
Live
moved.
Crew.
Yeah, but he had the first group he had was the 2 Live Crew. The record that they put out was called "Throw That D." Actually, it was called "Throw That Dick." That was it. Well, that was the name of the song. You can pull it up now. And he came to the record pool, and that's how I met him, and started talking to him. So he did that, and he let me hear the song because, you know, I got to give it to all my jocks. Because they come in with their records and stuff, and I'm promoting these records. So he let me hear it. He said, I got to get it on the air, on the radio. I said, well, you're not going to get this on the radio. Because they weren't saying throw that D. They were saying throw that dick. You know, and all. Back then, you can't broadcast that. You know. And I said, if you can go back and just take it out. Say throw that D. Next thing I know, he came a week later or so. He came back with the record and let me hear it again. And that's what it said, throw that D. I said, well, my jocks want throw that dick. But as far as the radio is concerned, they need to get throw that D.
Yeah.
And which he did. And it became one of his biggest popular songs. And then he had H-Town. You remember H-Town? H-Town was, pull up H-Town.